about some exciting news.
Oh yes, gear news. There's been some interesting gear news, and we haven't really done these gear topical news type videos, but we like to do more of them, I think, just as stuff comes by, because we always talk about it in the shop and while we're building. And so 2 topics today. First one is Gibson is back in the amp game, releasing some new amps. So I know you saw a little bit more of them. I think I saw a teaser shot where it was just kind of like the the on switch and like the side and like, oh, what are we releasing? I'm like, well, it's an amp. So we know it's an amp. Yeah, what do you think about those?
I think they're really cool. It's cool that they're getting back into the game. I mean, I don't know, those of you that know that they acquired Mesa Boogie, but they left Randall Smith, I think is his name, the amp designer that's responsible for all of the awesomeness, mostly for Mesa Boogie amps. But now he's kind of helping design amps for Gibson. So I think there's 2 amps. They're the Falcons, Falcon 5 and a Falcon 20. I think
so 5 watt and 20 watt.
Yeah,
obviously.
yeah,
Okay.
I think so. And then subtle differences, and they kind of kept it true to the layout of like the old style of amp. I'm not sure what amp they were trying to replicate, but it's just volume and tone, and then they added reverb, and I think I've seen that they have like speaker outs or DI outs, so useful for recording and stuff.
Yeah, okay.
But smaller combos, because that is something that I think is pretty prevalent and popular right now. So maybe they were listening to what the consumer said, and
yeah,
yeah,
makes sense. I mean, and you wonder, is it going to be a hit with the Gibson guys, the people that love Gibson? There's some nostalgic old Gibson amps that people really like, and I think that's kind of what they're trying to do, is sort of bring back that sort of vibe with some of those. Let us know what you think about the new Gibson amps, if you've seen them or not seen them. Maybe what you think about Gibson doing this in general, like back in the amp game. Obviously the Mesa angle, they didn't go for like a Gibson high gain amp or something like that. They kind of just staying true to what they did in the past. So that's pretty interesting. All right, so the other topic, maybe a little more controversial, not topic, is PRS is doing new tuners. And if you watch the video, they talk about kind of these new tuners, and there's some claims of extra sustain or added sustain by changing the tuner buttons, the material of the tuner buttons, the mass of the headstock. There's all sorts of, the internet is ablaze, I guess, right now with the discussion about the tuners, and is it a bunch of marketing? Is it not marketing? So I think I mentioned that to you the other day, and I don't know that you knew that they were releasing new tuners. So I thought it was kind of an interesting discussion that we had, because we went sort of way far into the weeds of, what's stuff like this mean in the industry, and is it like snake oil? Is it not? So we want to know what you guys think in the comments. But good, bad, ugly, whatever you think about kind of the PRS tuner thing. Yeah. So.
Yeah.
What was kind of your reaction, I guess, when I told you about those tuners?
Well, I do...
Tuner buttons, not even tuners themselves necessarily.
Yeah, so it's a tuner button. So I do, once you get to like the level of someone like that, like I definitely think that you're kind of in your own lane, and no one really, what you hear the most, I think. But I just feel like, one, there's this like quest for sustain, as if that is the one thing that makes guitars like the best. I mean, I feel like we've had some guitars that have not sustain inducing tuners that sustain really well and sound great.
Yeah.
So it's like, even if they did, and they might, I don't know, I'm not some sort of scientist with machines and stuff like that. And PRS would, and they've got like engineers, and they probably put it in crazy machines to figure that out. So it's like, kudos to them, and they're really solidifying their place as like, look, PRS, we're not going to leave any stone unturned as far as like regards to our guitars, and making sure that they're the best that we can make them. But I don't think, even if they were, it would maybe be like a 2% better sustain. And then are you really hearing that, or are you just thinking you're hearing that?
And do you need to spend the time? Some people want to see like a scientific A/B comparison video and all this stuff. They want to see all of that as part of the claims that are made, and I think that makes sense, because some people don't want to just buy stuff. Other people, I saw some comments where other people are like, well, I've had these other tuners for 30 years or whatever, and so they're now junk, or like, it's kind of like when they change something, You know, like when McDonald's went to real chicken in the chicken nuggets, it was like, wait a minute, what, you know, what's wrong with the other ones? A lot of things, obviously, but so that I saw that as a comment, which I thought was interesting. So it's like, and I get the marketing angle, you know, where you talked about the Ernie ball, like the heat treated stuff and kind of all that stuff. And so where do you guys land on that? That's kind of where we're at too. Just kind of like, okay, you see a lot of stuff in the industry. You see some stuff that's kind of really interesting claims. I'll just say interesting as like a safe and a neutral word for that. But the claims of these type of things in the industry. What do you guys think about that? Leave that in the comments below, either about the Gibson amps or the PRS tuning buttons. As guitar players, we're always interested in the pulse of the industry and what's going on in the industry. So yeah, let us know your thoughts in the comments. Yeah, what do you think about that? Yeah. And I think that's it for today. So thank you guys for checking us out. If you haven't heard of us, we are Porter Pickups, makers of electric guitar pickups for all sorts of types of guitars. We'll put the link to our website down below, but really we want to have a discussion with you just about these two new industry news topics. So take care, guys.
Yep, see you guys.
Perfect.